You know, there's nothing like cracking that cellophane and pulling that record out. It just smells great.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Non-stop hardcore energy.
I love the show, guys. You're awesome.
Unlike any other.
With your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. The Bodfather.
Man, this stuff rocks.
Hey, this is Michael Murphy from Written by Wolves, and you are listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
The views and opinions of the guests do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Hour, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to BODS Mayhem Hour. I am your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather, and today I want to welcome Mr. Michael Murphy, vocalist of Written by Wolves, and they have released their alternate version of their latest single, Give 'Em Hell, which is out right now, and is the follow-up to 2021's EP. The collab project, Give 'Em Hell, has been added to Sirius XM Octane test drive hosted by the legend himself and metal ambassador, Oli Lyons. Get out and check this out. And I want to welcome Michael to the podcast and talk about this bad boy. So how you doing?
I'm good, man. Thank you so much for having me, dude.
Not a problem. So you're all the way overseas coming over here, man. This is awesome. This is cool.
It's very cool, man. Yeah, I'm in New Zealand right now. So what are we? I'm hitting Thursday. You guys are still at Wednesday, right?
Lord of mercy. Yeah, you're already like in the future, son. Tell me the winning lotto. Hey, I need to know those winning lotto numbers for the American.
Yeah, man. I've got them for you. I'll email them through, because if everyone gets them, it's gonna really dilute that winning pool. All right. So I'll just I'll send that in a private message. All right.
That's what I'm talking about. See, we help each other out, folks.
That's right. I'm on your team, brother.
So how excited are you to have this alternate version of Give 'Em Hell that's out right now, and plus to see the success it's having, especially now it's in the top 20 the SMR radio chart for our active rock in the US, and now it's on these online outlets all over the place right now. So this has been a kick in the ass for you guys.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, man, to be honest. Like, so we kind of, last year was kind of the first year in the band's existence that we didn't release anything. And we spent the whole year kind of getting everything ready for this year, getting all the new tracks ready, and kind of working out how we were going to do everything, and how, what our game plan was, and what, what sort of goals we were going to be trying to kick. Because we'd taken that year off, and it was the first, year off releasing. And it was the first time we'd ever done that. We weren't really sure about how things were going to go when we sort of got back to dropping new music and new tunes. And I mean, to have both these versions of Give 'Em Hell out there and have them doing crazy things. I mean, as you said, getting spun on Octane, and then to have it, to be sitting right now in the top 20 of that SMR chart is kind of just blowing our minds right now. I mean, as you mentioned, we're down at the bottom of the world right now, sitting in little old New Zealand, and all this is happening in the States. So it's wild, man. It's pretty hectic. It's pretty crazy to deal with in our little Kiwi brains down here, but we're just, we're so grateful for everyone in the States spinning these tunes and listening to them and eating them up. I mean, we came out and finished the album in LA last year, and so it's kind of, the US is kind of like always feels like our second home. So we're hoping that we can get it over the line and come and play some shows for you guys soon.
Yeah, but man, think about New Zealand. They're not slackers for music. I mean, there's a lot of good heavy ones that's come out of New Zealand. I mean, if you really think about it, you guys are the forefront for bringing some new metal out, and that's cool with me, because the more the merrier.
No, we're pretty lucky down here, man. There's some pretty amazing band. The rock and metal scene down here is massive, and it kind of and it just seems to grow and grow and grow. And I think it's just kind of built into our kind of our DNA and our culture to kind of write these tunes and work hard at them afterwards. I mean, we've got a tiny population, so our whole country is only 5 million people. So I think there's pros and cons that come with that. But I think one of the big pros is that we've really managed to support music down here and work as hard at making sure that people get a chance to and an opportunity to kind of thrive, I suppose. And there's just band after band keeps coming out and doing amazing things. So it's cool, man. And you know, the way the world is now with things like Spotify and YouTube and Apple Music and stuff, music's never been more accessible. So, you know, we can sit down here at the bottom of the world, release a track, and, you know, I can be sitting here talking to you in Kentucky about how, you know, about things that are happening. So it's dope, man. And we're very, very grateful for everything that's going on.
I've said it's back when the pandemic hit, or plandemic, as I should say. I think bands that wasn't on the plateau, so to speak, and I don't mean that in any disrespect. I just mean that when that was going on, it was an even playing field for everybody. I don't care if you was a national touring band for 15, 20 years. Now it was an even playing field for such fellows like you. And now look at it. You can go to YouTube, Spotify, Twitch. It does not matter. And put your stuff out there. And, man, I keep saying this, and I keep kicking myself this because I do a YouTube paranormal page, and I haven't got it out yet. But, you know, your success is at your fingertip right now on how the world's working.
Absolutely, man. Like it's just all about getting it out there and you know, build it and they will come type situation, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's not quite as simple as that, but you're definitely not going to have, people are definitely aren't going to listen to it if it's not out there. So the only, you know, you've got far more chance of people listening if you've released it than if you're sitting on it, I suppose is possibly the name of the game at this point.
So taking that year off with not releasing stuff, but still working on other things for the band, was that kind of like a recharge or a breath of fresh air for you guys to just sit back and be like, well, let's just hold off a little bit?
It meant we kind of focused on the music, I suppose. Often we've kind of done everything on the fly, and basically, you know, as soon as we finish something, as soon as we finish a track, get it finished, shoot a video, we release it straight away. That was kind of like how our game plan always was from the moment we started. It was really about getting stuff out as quickly as possible and keeping our fans excited and kind of ensuring that new fans had more and more to find whenever they were coming, and sort of giving ourselves, I suppose, more chance for fans to find us. But I think, you know, having that year off meant that we did things slightly differently, and we finished this whole body of work and got it ready to go and went, all right, well let's work out the best way to get this out. Who do we want to work with? Who do we want to be? And we went through a few different options of various sort of entities of how we were going to release this stuff, and we landed on a great one that we're really happy with. And, you know, we've got a good team behind us, and it's really just about now kind of getting it all out to the world and making sure as many people as possible get to hear it.
So here's the $1 million question. Now I've got $2 million questions in this.
I love this. Do I get $1 million if I answer it, or
no?
Okay. All right.
So here's what my question about this, and it really intrigues me when a band releases their music and then they go back and they re-release it. But what led to release an alternate version of this song? Was it missing something that you guys had to go back and add to it and then re-release? Was there something when you guys listened like, we could do better with this?
No, it wasn't so much about that. It actually came from the fact that we hadn't released anything for a year.
Okay.
And so the idea kind of was we'd kept our fans waiting for so long that we just, as it was the first release of this, you know, of our new era, I suppose, it was predominantly about trying to give people extra. You know, it was kind of a bit of like, for, you know, for the diehard fans that have been waiting a year, it was really about kind of going, all right, we've made you wait, so we're going to give you as much as we possibly can with this first release, and then we're going to keep rolling on through the next. So it was really about, it was more a thank you, I suppose, for everyone for being so loyal and sticking around over, you know, for a year. I mean, attention spans are short these days.
Yeah.
And so, you know, all these diehard fans who stick around, like our Spotify numbers stayed pretty solid and didn't drop over that year, not by much anyway. So, you know, it was kind of about going, right, all of you that have stuck around and kept listening to our stuff for a year while we didn't release anything new, here's a whole heap. Here's we're going to go quickly and we're going to give you lots. And so that was where the idea for the alternate version came. You know, it was just about, you know, we have the, you know, like you say, it's at your fingertips, and we kind of were like, we've got the opportunity to do something completely different than we've never done before here. Let's just keep doing that. And that's kind of always been the band's kind of ethos, is how do we keep changing? How do we doing things differently? How do we change our sound? How do we explore different parts of our sound? Just because we've done something before doesn't mean we should do it again. And so that was kind of where we landed. It's like, let's do let's do a couple of versions of this one and get it out and keep people with getting to hear different sides of what Written by Wolves are.
Yeah. It's the moral of the story is, how can we not be stagnant? How can we keep going and making everybody think, well, what are they going to come out with next?
That's right.
So do you feel that re-releasing a new version of a song can hurt it? Do you think it can?
Look, I'm sure it has the potential to do so, but I suppose, you know, in this kind of new day and age of you know, it all being at your fingertips, it's kind of like you just kind of have to go for it, right? It's kind of like you could sit and overthink about it and go, this might hurt it, this might do that, this might do that. But it's kind of more about, I suppose, to appealing to different fans and people with different tastes. You know, they're two very, very different versions. And, you know, if you like the heavy version and you don't like the electronic version, don't listen to the electronic version. Just listen to the heavy one, you know. I'm not going to hold a gun to your head and make you listen to the other version.
That's true. You like what you like. How was working with guitarists? And I hope I pronounce his name right. Bahador Borhani, is that correct, or did I screw that all up?
No, that was pretty much bang on, man.
Okay, so he directed this video for Give Him Hell. Let's talk about it a little bit. How was working with him as a director producer versus being a guitarist in the band? How do y'all get along with this?
Yeah, look, I mean, Bahador's been a member of the band since we started, and he's, you know, he'll always be like a brother to us. I mean, we've worked on, like, this wasn't his first time taking the director's chair. We've worked on a lot of videos together, you know, and it's always been kind of part of the process of the band. This track was kind of one of the ones that he had a real vision for, so that we kind of just let him run loose. He kind of would tell me what he wanted, and I'd go and find it. You know, which is, I'll never forget the phone call when he was like, "Dude, I think we need horses," and I was like, "All right, okay, where am I going to find horses?" And then, you know, everything just kept kind of snowballing. I mean, this kind of became so. Bahador's decided he's now left and gone to focus on his other career, which is architecture and things like this, and explore different sides of his musical taste. And we kind of, you know, we've as gutting as that was to kind of say goodbye to, you know, as far as the band's concerned, to one of our brothers, it was kind of a pretty cool way for him to sign off and to say, you know, look, here's this dope track and this crazy video with horses in it. So yeah, I mean, yeah, and you know, it's going to be different now. Like this, you know, Bahador and I work very closely on lots of those videos, especially this last one. So it's kind of, you know, we'll have a different process now and different things to do. But it's a pretty, I mean, I'm sure you can agree, it's a pretty. If you're going to sign off on something, sign off with horses and stuntmen and stuntmen and all sorts of crazy stuff. I suppose go wild, go out with a bang.
Oh yeah, he did. And I was getting ready to mention that this was a great video. Medieval stuff. I love that stuff. The knights and everything that was going on with all this. Just it was all around great, man. This was cool, and for him to go out like that, man, y'all lit a fire under it. That's for sure.
Right on. Thank you, man. We appreciate that a lot.
So how much are you guys currently working on? I know you mentioned that you guys finished that recording. So do you have anything done right now? What's going on?
Oh, there's lots coming. There's a lot coming. All right. So basically, I mean, I'm not going to give away too much, but we're not going to keep you waiting too much longer for new music. It's kind of like with this thing, once we, as I say, like we took last year to get everything ready and kind of get everything lined up. And basically, I think we've kind of, this first track was basically about pulling the pin on the grenade and then just chucking it and let it go. So there's lots coming, and it's coming soon. So if you are basically right now, if you're a fan of the band or if you are just finding the band, it is a very, very good time to jump on board the train, because there's going to be lots to keep you entertained over the next little while. All right. Promise.
Now, like you said, the attention span is like 2 seconds. Are we going to get an EP, just singles released, or are we getting that full album?
I don't know, man. I don't know. No, I do know. Actually, I know exactly what you're getting. But all I can say right now is I promise you're going to enjoy it. We're gonna work on those attention spans and try and not make them last too long. We'll keep everyone on the edge of the seat. And like I say, we're trying to do things as you know, and every iteration of what we do in this band, we try and do something different. So we're going to try and keep people guessing about what's coming next and how it's coming next, you know?
What's been the most heated discussion the band has had about a song being worked on for an album, or just an album name or album cover? Has there been a heated one? I know there's got to have, sort of, kind of.
Oh, there's always heated discussions about everything. Predominantly, yeah. I mean, there's lots of, there's lots of different opinions in a band, and there's always going to be. There was definitely contention about the last album name, about Secrets. That went through a few different names between the band, between management at the time, between everyone had a bloody opinion, and it was kind of like, how do you work through every single one?
Yeah.
I always find it kind of challenging because I'm the lyricist for the band. I wrote all the lyrics, they're all the stories, so I kind of often have a vision of how I want the entire thing to kind of sit. So it's kind of hard. I have a very strong opinion about what I think things should be sort of packaged up as. I mean, the last album kind of became a concept album, not overly on purpose, but it kind of happened that way once I kind of finished up the album. And I think I kind of had a vision and an idea of where that was going, which not everyone thought was the ideal sort of idea. But that's you're never going to put 5 people in a room and get them to agree on everything quickly. So it's kind of, that's just basically where it happens, I suppose. But we fight about most things. It's kind of like brothers,
Yeah.
My real brother and I fight about most things. So, my fake ones are probably going to do that too.
Is track listing placement important for you guys when you're releasing an album or an EP?
Yeah, for us, it really is. We kind of try and place everything in which, and it's getting trickier, I suppose, because, as we talked about, attention spans are hard, and not everyone sits and listens through an entire album. But often things are placing, and we always try and place it in a certain way that's going to take you on a ride, and it's meant to kind of, the last few have really meant to take you on a kind of through the story, I suppose, through the overarching story of the entire concept of what the album becomes about. And what we've been working on for the next one as well has a similar, it has that same sort of thing that's going to run through it. So it track order and placing is going to be really, really important, as opposed, to get that story. And not everyone will listen through it like that, and that's fine. But the ones that will hopefully take something extra from it. But you can only but hope, right?
Yeah, you can't make them.
That whole gun to the head thing. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, and when I'm going to date myself on how old I am. When I was a kid, I had to go to the store, the freaking pharmacy, or the grocery store, and buy Hit Parade or Circus Magazine or Rip Magazine or something like that to find out, when Guns N' Roses was coming out with something, when Guar or Metallica or somebody like that was coming out with something, and plus when MTV was good and was playing good stuff back in the day. That's all you had, and now it's like at the tip of your finger, like I said earlier, and it's like, and you wanted that full length. You wanted that full length to list everything. Now it's just like 2 or 3 songs. You're like, I'm fine until like 8 months later. What are you doing now?
Yeah.
It's like, what?
It's hard, right? Like, I mean, I've got, so many experiences etched into my brain of like lying in my bedroom, listening to a whole album on repeat for hours and hours and hours, and like reading the insert, like cover to cover, especially if they had lyrics, and like reading everyone's little, every member of the band's like little thing that they wrote about the album or their thanks, like just reading it to like for hours, literally, saying next to nothing, but just being so obsessed with these albums and these things. So it is, and that is coming back with the resurgence of vinyl and things like that. But it's certainly a different world we live in, and as as we've discussed and mentioned, there's pros and cons to all of it, right? There's so many, like we said, music's right at your fingertips right now. Like you can listen to anything you want, and we can go and put on a playlist or do whatever we want, listen to literally anything we want. If you want to find some sort of crazy weird style that you've never listened to before, you can find that right now and go and listen to it. And it's a pretty amazing time in music. But there are, as you say, so many experiences that we've got etched into our brains and grew up with that unfortunately kind of have taken a slight back burner.
Okay, so are you one of the guys also that when you went to a record store, you solely bought an album on the cover art, didn't know who the band was, but you're like, I gotta have this album. Look at this. This is freaking amazing. And what album was the first one that you did, that you bought like that, if you can recall?
Look, I've done that lots of times, but I actually still do that now. You know, like I'll often walk into a record store to buy vinyl and kind of walk in with an idea of what I want to get, like what I've kind of planned on getting, and walk out with something completely different. I'm trying to think of, I've got kids now, so I kind of get to do that less and less, predominantly because I don't know if you've ever taken a 4-year-old into a record store, but it's a really, really, really bad idea. And it's not going to help anyone. What was, there was one, we walked into, not this record store day just been, but recently, like a few years ago, my cousin and I walked in, and we both kind of walked in with all these ideas of what we were going to get. And and both of us walked out with entirely different things. And I suppose that's the beauty of, like you say, like seeing something and going, but also I suppose now, because so much vinyl that you're not just buying new stuff, right? Like we're buying nostalgic things as well. So you kind of see something and go, like, I might walk in and think I'm going to buy a new release, but see something that actually triggers something in my brain from being a teenager or whatever, and go, oh crap, I need that, you know? So that's the beauty of a record store. And I suppose that's like, there's literally going to be people that have never experienced that and may never ever experience that. And it's so like, I mean, it's such an amazing experience. And, you know, maybe that's partially nostalgia as well, but being able to flick through things and kind of see, like last time I was in LA, when we were finishing up there, I just walked through, like spent about 3 hours in Amoeba Music, just kind of like just flicking through everything, just going, this is just, it's so rad, you know, it's just so much fun. So it's kind of, I implore everyone, God, I sound like some sort of old weird loser, eh? But that's but I do love it. Like it's so, you know, it's such a cool thing that I think, you know, if you haven't had a chance to do that recently, go and spend a little bit of time with old therapy music and flick through vinyl for a while.
So what's the musical growth that you've seen Written by Wolves go through compared to 2019's release up till now? What's the musical growth that you've seen in this band that kind of like impresses you the most and excites you the most about the future for the band?
Oh, look, I think as I kind of mentioned earlier, like this band's kind of ethos and plan has always really been about trying to do things differently as often as we possibly can and kind of progress things as much as we can. And I kind of look at the body of work that we've created coming up, you know, ready for release. And I think I've said this various times and to various people. Like I look at my last band, my previous band, and I'm super proud of, you know, everything we did then and everything I wrote then. But I don't think I could have written Secrets, our last album, when I was 21 in that band. Like I just don't think I had the capacity. And I look at Secrets now that we released in 2019. And I look at what we've got coming up, and I don't think I could have written what we've got coming up like those few years ago in 2019. You know, it's like I see that progression in, you know, what I literally don't think I could have physically done or you know, had the capacity or capability to do just a few years ago. And I think that's what kind of excites me the most, is that I think we're all kind of looking at kind of ways that we can just do something that we haven't done before. And I think, I mean, I can speak on behalf of everyone else, but I can also predominantly speak on my own sort of experience. And I know, like I worked really hard on with all these next tracks, trying to ensure that what I was doing was, and what I was singing was not what I'd done before, you know, trying to really attack songs in a different way, trying to attack melodies and lyrics in a different way. So I think, you know, I'm pretty excited about where that's gone. And I think that we're only going to continue to grow on that. And, you know, I mean, as I say, I don't think I could have written this next album a couple of years ago. So I think that's cool.
What's been your most memorable show that Written by Wolves has been a part of so far that you still cannot believe that this band was a part of?
We've been pretty lucky, man. Like there's been some pretty wild shows that we've got to play. I think like so we opened up for Limp Bizkit a few years ago. And it was on St. Patrick's Day. It was like all my teenage dreams come true, you know. So it was like a mini festival in New Zealand, and it was us, Hip PE, Suicidal Tendencies, Sublime with Rome, and Limp Bizkit.
Yeah.
And I just kind of like the moment I saw that poster, it just kind of like my like childhood just kind of exploded inside my brain, and kind of like getting to do that. And I mean, as I say, it was St. Paddy's Day, so we had just this wild party afterwards. It was just like, it's one of those ones that's always going to go down as kind of like, okay, I'm here. And, you know, often I suppose in those kind of life moments, you look back on like how you would have thought about it as a teenager. And like my teenage self was going, all right, you've done okay here, mate. Like that's, you know, that's like, yeah, I'm happy with where we're at right now.
So here's the other $1 million question. I told you I had two of them. This is the second baby one right here.
I'm going to be rich after this interview.
You are, man. You are. You better talk to your PR person about that. He's got yeah. Graham, you owe him some money, but all right, man. If you could be a member of an iconic band, and then we're just going to say any iconic band that you want to be part of as that musician in that band, and play one of their legendary shows, which band would it be in show possibly, Michael?
Holy shit. This is a good question.
I told you.
Holy. All right. Look, I mean, there's lots, right? Yep. You know, I mean, it's hard to go past, you know, if you're going to live in the moment, like you're speaking of, like it's going to be very, very hard to go past that, the Queen, Freddie Mercury at Wembley moment, you know, like imagine being in front of that crowd, having that much control, you know, doing, you know, that iconic moment of Freddie standing up in front of Wembley at Live Aid, kind of doing that. Like that would be pretty wild. I think, move it, you know, if I'm allowed to have options on this,
I'll give you another option.
Can I have two more?
You can, my friend.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to do eras for you. So sure. I'm going to put that Queen moment probably at 1.
Oh yeah.
2, I would like to basically play any Guns N' Roses show from sort of late 80s to 90s.
Oh, nice.
Basically anyone. It doesn't have to be a big one. Maybe even one of those first ones on the strip. Like that would be pretty amazing. Like, I mean, I'd love to play one of the big ones, like especially in the wild partying days, just to kind of like, just to have been a part of that. I mean, I love Guns N' Roses with a passion. So,
shirt on right now.
Yeah, I was thinking that's what I could see. Basically I'd take any Guns N' Roses show. I mean, possibly, you know, maybe like in the good days, like before everyone started falling out and fighting on stage, that might be less fun. Or I mean, and if we're gonna move through the eras, it basically just a Linkin Park show, like that would have been, you know, I mean, Chess is one that's pretty dear to my heart. And I mean, I think, you know, you'd have to be pretty crazy not to see his influence on my songwriting and my vocals. So I think, you know, basically, you know, some sort of big, massive Linkin Park show on any one of those tours, you know, I mean, there's so many of those amazing moments that we've all seen, in videos and things like that. So one of those three, and I'd be pretty happy.
You know, I'm a huge old school metal guy. And then when Linkin Park came in on the scene, again, there's another band that kicked the freaking door open for like new metal, I guess, if that's what you want to call them. I mean, they just knocked the door in. It was like, oh God.
That was absolutely game changing. Like I still remember where I was when I first heard Linkin Park. Like I remember that coming on the radio. I remember where I was sitting. I remember I was sitting in my mom's car. I remember the street I was sitting on, like all of that type thing, you know?
Oh man.
So yeah, I mean, and I remember just going, all right, this is different. Something's changed here. You know, this is not something I've heard before. And being absolutely kind of gobsmacked about what it was, and kind of this, you know, that's not happened too many times in my life. And, you know, that doesn't happen too many times to people, you know, like that that was a real moment in which, things changed.
You
Love
know,
him or hate him, you can't deny that.
I love asking this question because there's so many different answers, but the one that it's very consistent, and if you go back and listen to all my podcasts here like the past 6 months, Queen Live 8 has been the number one answer.
Oh, really?
Any type of musician, I don't care if you're metal, very heavy metal, I don't care, death metal, whatever, that has been one of them.
Wow, all right. So now you're basically just telling me I'm very basic right now. No, look, we can take that two ways. We can either take it as the fact that I'm incredibly basic, or we can take it as the fact that literally has to be one of the most iconic moments in music history ever.
Yeah, I go with iconic moments in music history because him on stage and just taking over and playing his heart out, knowing his last show, and then just amazing. I mean, if that show don't put chills on somebody, then you're not a music fan at all.
No, that's right. There's not many. It doesn't matter what you're into. There's not many people that's not going to move or sway, right?
I agree. Yeah. And go with Guns N' Roses back in the day. They were kind of like the modern day Doors because you didn't know what you were going to get from show to show.
How wild would that have been to have been a part of? Like any of that, just like just living through that Appetite era like this. I mean,
oh yeah,
man.
when I was a kid, I had my little Appetite Destruction shirt. I was like, yeah, I love Guns N' Roses. Yeah, heck yeah, look at me. It's like I don't know, man. It kind of scared me off a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because you didn't know. Because back in the day, you didn't know anything about these bands like we do now.
Yeah.
You're like, do I want to go hang out with these guys or not? Am I going to get trouble?
And that's just it. And that was, that used to be the beauty of music. I remember like when I first sort of came out and started doing stuff, like the label I was working with at the time, a lot of the talk and the management, a lot of the talk was about creating that mystery and having that mystery that people wanted to kind of know stuff about you but couldn't find, and that was kind of part of what kept people engaged. But now it's like the opposite. If they don't know what you had for breakfast or what your dog's name is, they don't care anymore.
Hey, look at Silent Token. I love Silent Token. Do I want to know anything about them or who they are? No.
That is the beauty of it, right? And perhaps, and the thing is about changing the game and doing something different. It's not going to work for everyone, but you hit it right, and like Sleep Token have, if you hit that right, and you sort of capture the attention of people at the exact right time, doing things the way that they have in such an incredible way, it just changes. You can literally go against the tide very quickly, and that's it's this kind of similar thing to Ghost, right? He just creates this. They create a different story every time.
Yep, different pop.
And that's not gonna work for every band, but
no.
You do something right and you do something completely different at the right time, and it catches people's imagination very, very quickly.
Look, I know this single's been out for a couple months now, but when are we looking for something new EP-wise or album-wise, possibly? Round about ballpark. We're talking about this year, next year, maybe?
I reckon if you keep your eye on social media in the next week or so, you're going to find out very, very quickly when the next single's coming. It ain't going to take long. In fact, what are we in now? We're in May?
Yes.
All right. We're not going to keep you waiting another month. Take that as my little teaser for you.
I try, folks. Okay, I try.
Yeah. We won't make we won't make you wait till June. There you go. How's that?
There we go. Next couple weeks. You're right here at Bods Mayhem Hour. That's where you get all the stick from, right here, folks. Right here. All right, you want to get out and check out Written by Wolves, alternate version of Give 'Em Hell. Please check it out because it's actually pretty damn good. And Michael, my friend, how can folks stay in touch with Written by Wolves? Get everything under the sun by the name of your guys. How can they do that?
It's pretty simple. Basically, if you type Written by Wolves into anything that you use, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Spotify, YouTube, you're going to find us very, very quickly. As far as my Google searches say, we're the only band with that name, so you shouldn't struggle to find us. So just go and check it out. Come and say hi. We'll look forward to seeing you.
And I'm going to have all these links right here, right down in that little description to where you can say, I don't know where it's at. You just click on where it says show more on the YouTube description. And
beautiful.
Right there it is.
It's like magic. It's like magic.
My friend, before I let you go, would you care to do a promo for my show?
Absolutely, man. Hey, this is Michael Murphy from Written by Wolves, and you are listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
everybody stick around. We've got some great stuff coming up. And you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour. Please go check out our Facebook page. There's our podcast link and our YouTube link. And definitely subscribe to that YouTube link if you like what I do. If you like what I do, that's fine. I know I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but that's cool. I like you anyway. Also, written by Wolves. Check out their new single, Give 'Em Hell. It's an alternate version of that song. And I'm telling you guys, you're going to dig this band. And give them a fair shot. Listen to all their other stuff too, because you might find another band in the rough to where you can stick in your CD player and on Spotify playlists and all that good stuff. So, Michael, my friend, I wish you guys nothing but the best of luck, and you're welcome on here anytime.
Thank you very much, brother. I look forward to seeing you next time.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.